Showtime.
Ready for this?
Let's do it.
Hi, sweet friend. Welcome to Watercolor Happy Hour, our live show where we show you how to make a delicious drink, cocktail, or mocktail, and then I will show you how to paint it. My name is Volta Voloshin Smith. I'm the artist behind Color Snack, and this is my husband, Daniel Smith.
Hello.
So I'm really excited. Today we'll be doing a really fun cocktail that could be a mocktail. But if you want to turn it into a cocktail, you absolutely can. So it's a very simple one. I believe you don't even need a shaker. Is that correct?
Yeah, no shaking this time.
No shaking.
Totally built. This is, I guess, this is actually, I wouldn't even call it a mocktail. This is a coffee drink.
Coffee drink. That
we're going to turn into a cocktail in the second half or second quarter. Yes, I will dance. It may have something to do with this being a caffeinated cocktail.
Yes, dance from all the coffee.
Yeah, I can't help it. So we're going to be doing coffee, specifically espresso, which means that I get to pull out my robot friend.
Yes.
So say hi, Kafalot, hello. So we're going to be squeezing some beans out with the Kafalot robot. Specifically, we're using beans from one of our sweet chef friends, Andy at La Rev. Thank you, Andy. I don't know. Did I tell the story about?
No, you didn't. You should share it.
Oh my gosh, I was
So Chef Andy makes delicious French pastries, macarons, and the likes.
Yes, and one of my hotter takes is that I usually don't like macaron. I don't know. I guess I find them like stale or chewy or just like boring most of the time. But Volta brought some of these macaron from La Rev, and they are delicious. They're light, airy, but also they have bite to them. And he doesn't use jam inside of them most of the time. He uses more of a cream filling, but like a thick, rich cream. They're good. They're good. So I was what I usually do when I go to a place like that. I see they have an espresso machine, so I get an espresso, and I guess most people don't do that. So he starts talking to me, and he tells me that they're using these single origin Vietnamese Arabica beans. If you're a coffee geek like I am, you know that Vietnamese and Arabica don't tend to go together. You think of Robusta beans from Vietnam. It turns out that the reason why Robusta is so common in Vietnam is they're easier to grow. They spread like a weed, I guess. And unfortunately, during the Vietnam War, a lot of the coffee trees were destroyed. So that's why you see a lot of Robusta in Vietnam. But there are people that are trying to get those heirloom varietals of Arabica that used to grow in Vietnam to take hold. This is one of those beans. So this is an heirloom Arabica Vietnamese coffee. It is delicious. It has everything that I like. Sweet, smooth, low acidity, tastes like drinking chocolate syrup, like dark chocolate syrup. Oh, it's magnificent. I highly recommend if you are in the Dallas area to make your way to La Rev and have some of their espresso.
Yeah, they will be selling these beans. So Chef Andy was so kind. He saw how passionate Dana was about this coffee, and he gifted us this bag of beans.
Yeah.
He is saying that he's going to start offering this at the store that people could buy them. But I'm very grateful that we got to
I'm hyping up these beans. You can't even buy them.
Not yet, but
yet.
soon. They're working on the packaging and all the details.
But you can go to La Rev.
Yes, and have
get
some.
An espresso.
Absolutely, yes. Come to Dallas. This is worth the
Come
trip.
to Dallas. Boom. Well, all the other things.
Yeah.
But this specifically for these beans.
And it's funny you mentioned the beans are low acidity, so a lot of Arabica beans are probably high acidity, but we are actually adding acidity.
Yeah, I know.
So
the great irony here.
So Dan makes this huge deal about not liking acidic coffee, and yet we're making a drink. But I promise you, this is so good. Like, it's not this. It doesn't taste the same as like an acidic coffee. It tastes like way better.
Yes, and I've got a lot of people are like, "What, acidic coffee?" Ow.
Yeah.
So there's been a trend in espresso over the last, I don't know, 10 years or so, that the idea of lively acidity in coffee is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it kind of like beers with their IPAs?
Yes, it's very
with
similar
bitter,
to IPA.
like who wants bitter beer? Like not me.
No, and apparently people like sour coffee,
yeah.
but I don't either.
No. But we're about to
why?
make a sourish drink.
What we're doing, this
it's
is
well
like
balanced,
okay, so there was a bifurcation in IPAs.
Yeah.
There is it used to be the English IPA was the only kind that you had. It's a very classic. Well, I need to use it. I need it warm. Okay, but the IPAs used to have just like the traditional, really like bitter but high alcohol, high hop, high alcohol IPA that was, because they were shipping beer to India from England, they had to increase the alcohol content so it wasn't spoil, and they increased the hops so that it would offset all the alcohol and create flavor. That was taken by the Americans, or the North American beer market, and created what was called a West Coast IPA, which is a super high alcohol, an imperial IPA, super high alcohol, super bitter, super hoppy. And then the backlash of that became the New England IPA, the East Coast IPA, or hazy IPA, which is more citrusy and fruity and bright. So what we're seeing here is kind of the more of the East Coast IPA of coffee, where you saw them become very, very sour, but we're kind of using a very rich espresso and to put into something relatively acidic.
Yeah.
That was a long way of saying it's good.
Yeah. It's good. Trust us.
You're welcome. So if you didn't see my last episode of making coffee when I rambled on forever, there's a few techniques of making espresso. First, what I'm doing is doing a quick spritz of water and shaking it up to remove the static. This is called I believe it's the Russell droplet technique. Mm-hmm. We shake it up and then we grind it very fine. This is the Niche Zero grinder, a semi-professional, a prosumer model of grinder, but you can use a hand grinder if you like. The Z-Espresso ones are excellent. But you do have to have a very consistent grind in order to make espresso work appropriately. You can also do this with a mocha pot. You can also do this with cold brew extract.
Or pour over. Like really any way you could want to make coffee that's the easiest, you should do it.
I would say with a pour over, you'd have to make it really strong.
Yeah.
Because you don't want a lot of coffee to citrus.
Right.
In here.
Yeah.
All right. So I've got this guy warmed up. I'm warming it up on the Brewista pot here. So this Brewista, it has little holes in the top. So I put my portafilter on top of it in order to keep everything nice and warm. Now I'm going to take said portafilter, put it over my cup. Shake out my 17 grams of finely ground coffee, and then do the Weiss distribution technique to make sure there's no clumps. That's just a bunch of wires.
Very particular about his coffee experience.
Listen, guys. All right. Once you've done it correctly one time, and you've had what a really good one tastes like, you don't want to go back.
Yeah, it's worth the effort.
It really is. So I'm just making this relatively flat.
Especially with good beans. You don't want to disrespect the beans, you know?
Yes, exactly. So then I just level it down. And I'm going to take this, and first I create a nice, even, flat surface.
That's called a tamper?
Yes. and I'm leveling it. There are self-leveling tampers, but I don't go for that whole thing. I want the full experience.
David said you're a professional.
I don't think anybody would pay me to do this because they get really bored. But yeah, all right. So I'm just packing that down, and all I'm doing is getting the air out of the coffee. I'm not doing the whole this stuff because that just packs it down way too much. And plus, I'm going to put a ton of pressure on it later. What I want to do is have it packed, but not so packed that the water won't be able to flow through it in what's called the pre-infusion. So now I'm just checking the temperature on that water. I want it at exactly I want it at 100 degrees. We are almost there. We had it turned off for a little too long. If it's not at 100 degrees, it's not going to be able to extract enough from the coffee, and it's going to cause it to be sour.
Yeah.
And we're already putting enough acidity in this beverage. We don't want any more. So, guys, you're just going to have to wait 2 seconds for this thing to reach 100 degrees. As you can hear, there we go.
All right.
So we just pour our little guy here. We don't want to fill it up all the way. Then I take...
Here, I can drive the camera.
Okay. Thank you. So I take that guy, put it in. We're just going to take a little cup down here. All right. Now we do our pre-infusion, which is just letting everything sit in, get the coffee nice and full, and then we jam it down. And we want to do this relatively slowly because we do want it to be nice and rich. Oh yeah. And normally on an espresso you want it to take about 30 seconds. I'm going for about 45, 60 seconds here because I want to get it very full-bodied to stand up to the orange juice that we'll be putting on it. All right. And there we go.
Question, can you make this with decaf beans?
Yes, of course.
Yes. You can absolutely make this with decaf beans if you want to enjoy this beverage in the evening.
Yes, it can be kind of hard to find good whole decaf beans. If you have a local roaster, they can often provide them. But you can find some like single origin decaf beans. I think we have some that we found at Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are these from San Antonio?
Yes, San Antonio. These guys, I don't know if you can find them where you are, but we found these at Whole Foods, and they're quite good. Sugarcane decaf. They washed. I have no idea what the sugarcane is, but they are good. I would recommend them.
Yeah.
Hard to find a good decaf.
Thank you so much, Yolanda, David.
Okay.
David said, "Don't disrespect the beans" merch T-shirt. That's a good one.
Yes. Do not disrespect the
Thank
beans.
you, Alexander. Vitaly, drone. David said drone. Maybe we could use a coffee drone for this.
Coffee drone.
For the upper shots.
Yes. Volta does such a good job. I wouldn't want to deny her.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So now what we are going to do, now that we've cleaned off our little robot.
Christopher also complimented you on the hop history.
Thank you, Christopher. I will take any opportunity to wax poetic about the history of beer or any alcohol that I come across. Now, okay, so this technique you might remember from the Aperol Spritz conversation where you put the
Oh,
soda
yeah.
in first, and
Pass. It was like Prosecco, Aperol, soda,
Mhm.
slice.
yes. But this one we are going to put soda in first. So we're going to put about half of our glass there. Then
So
we're
any
gonna
type of
take-
mineral water, right? But not
Yes.
tonic.
Not tonic.
Not tonic.
Although an espresso and tonic is a thing.
Oh, we need to try that. I wonder.
Yeah, it is a thing, but probably with a sweeter, lighter one. What is that? A store-bought cold brew, I think.
Yeah. We haven't tried this with a cold brew.
We haven't done it with a store-bought cold brew.
Yes, we have done it with one you made.
Yes, and we're about to do that because we use the cold brew recipe in order to make. This is not Kahlua. This is
Just
a bottle that we use to store our cold brew extract that I've mixed with some light and dark rum and brown sugar syrup to basically make a homemade version of Kahlua. But what you just saw me do was pour in. I'll talk about my cold brew recipe in a second. I just don't want to lose track of this. This is some navel orange super juice. So it's the same super juice recipe that we use to take citric acid and peel from whatever citrus it is, create an oleocitrate, which is just extracting the oil from the zest, mixing that with the original juice and combining about 4 to 5 parts of water to the 1 part of juice. And it creates the same, it tastes exactly like fresh squeezed, but it stays preserved much longer and it's zero waste. So for the price of 1 orange, you get at least 5.
Nice.
Yes. That said, those oranges were not very sweet, so I am going to add a little bit of sugar back into it.
Mm-hmm.
It also helps with the coffee. See that?
And if you don't want to do the citric thing,
just use fresh squeezed.
Yeah, just fresh squeezed.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, or from a carton.
Yeah, use whatever.
This
it's
is
up to you.
Yeah, this is a fun, easy recipe. You literally just need, for the basic one, just coffee, cold preferably, and then juice and mineral water.
Yes, and now I'm just going to take, you can see this.
Yeah.
All right, so the problem with a cup like this, I think the original angle was probably the best.
Okay.
So the problem with a cup is that it just spills down the side if you pour it slowly. So in order to offset that, we just run with it and let it spill onto the spoon. And this lets us float our espresso.
And it also looks really cool. It looks like a watercolor.
Yeah. That's how we get that ombre. Yeah. There we go. And
so you don't necessarily need to use this technique if you just want to enjoy this beverage, right? You don't need to layer it unless.
No, I mean, because you're going to stir it up anyway.
Yeah, you end up stirring it up, but just for fun, because this is we are going to paint this version of the drink because it looks so cool.
Yeah, it's what's called, some people call this drink a bumblebee.
Yeah, because it has some yellow and a little bit of, the bumblebee stripes kind of.
Yes. Yes. So there we go. That's a bumblebee. Volta, do you want to stir it up or do you want to take a sip? There's 2 different ways. You can stir it up and make it kind of all one color, or you can sip the coffee through.
Look at that.
Sip the juice through the coffee. Either way, it's delicious.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, it does not taste like a sour coffee. It just tastes like a delicious combination. I know it sounds weird, like orange juice, but with a hint of coffee. And it's very refreshing because it's cold, it's iced, it's perfect for the summer heat.
Yes.
Great to enjoy for a brunch or decaf in the afternoon.
I do like it. Okay.
Oh, so good.
So we're going to make this one much, much, much faster. but we're going to do the same ratio. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to talk about cold brew. So cold brew, I use the same grind that I would for a pour over, which is a very, very coarse grind. You'd probably be able to get it, I think French press grind would be similar if you're getting it pre-ground at a grocery store.
It's
Now,
so good.
yes. And what you do is mix roughly 60 grams per 250 grams of water, 250 mLs of water. I would recommend at least 120 grams of coffee to 500 milliliters of water, on account of that coffee will soak up a good bit of it. And then you just mix it, stir it together. You can even use a French press to do this. So if you have a French press that'll fit that, stir it all up, put it in the French press, just touch it barely on top, and then stick it in the fridge for about 12 hours. That's about how much time. You don't want to over extract that one too, but at around 12 hours, then you drain it off. You can either pass that through a coffee filter or just use the French press. Either way, that's going to give you your cold brew extract. You're going to get from 500, you're going to get about 350 mLs of cold brew. And then with that, you can adjust to taste. But yeah, you're probably going to do about 1 ounce of cold brew extract to 8 ounces of water, give or take, because it is pretty strong. But okay. With that said, we're going to go ahead and grind this one up. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to talk about how you can make your own coffee liqueur once you have that cold brew extract. So that cold brew extract is non-alcoholic. Rum is roughly 40% alcohol, give or take. So if you mix them in about equal parts, you'll end up with 20% alcohol, which is what you find most of these to be. If you add in just a little bit of a darker Jamaican rum that has a lot of flavor but also a little more alcohol, you can offset that with any type of strong syrup. Yeah. Well, okay, I guess I'll use my mic. Yeah.
Muted. Hold on, I'm gonna log back in.
All right. Well, Volta, yours disappeared.
Yeah, but I think you're
I'm
muted.
I unmuted.
Yeah.
So
Nobody can hear us.
I have no idea if anybody can hear me or not.
Okay, I'm almost back.
Well, okay. I'm the only one. I'm in the show. Let's see, is chat showing up? Nope, that's chat with the studio. Okay, well, I'm just gonna keep working. Yeah, now I can mute again. There we go.
Oh my gosh, sorry guys.
Oh,
we can hear you. My MacBook decided to just run some updates and restart.
Yes, it doesn't matter, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, we're back.
Yes. Oh man, I think I found a kindred spirit with this Christopher. Oh wait, no, he was his last name. I was like, most people don't know the WDT stands for Weiss Distribution Technique, but he's just talking about his last name. Maybe he invented it. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So my very long explanation that got me started on creating a cold brew was to answer your question of, do you have experience with using a store-bought cold brew extract? No, I don't, but we've made our own. So yes, it will work. that is the very, very, very long-winded explanation of a simple question.
And thank you everyone for sticking around for a few minutes while we had some technical difficulties.
They were probably laughing at me talking because I couldn't see chat, but they were saying that they could still hear me. I'm like, oh, I don't know.
All right.
How does technology work, Volta?
Usually it works great until it doesn't.
Like most things.
Yeah.
Works great until it does not work great. All right. So are there any other questions in chat? I didn't get a chance to read it.
No, everyone's just
laughing at
basically
at our inability to use technology.
It's not us, it's the MacBook.
It's not me, it's you. As you know.
All right.
Okay, so we're going to do this one a little faster.
Now faster, we gotta paint.
Oh yes, faster. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to do this one kind of double layered because I want to add in 2 different types of liquor into this. I'm actually just kind of experimenting here, so hopefully this tastes good. So we're going to add a very strong shot of espresso. You can see it kind of pouring slowly. Can you see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So see how that's kind of like syrupy coming out?
Looks good.
Yeah.
We're going to be awake for a while.
Yeah. But we're also going to add in some of that homemade coffee liqueur I talked about. And some triple sec. You could use Cointreau for this, of course, but given all the other flavors that we're adding in, I feel like the subtlety and the flavor of Cointreau would get a little lost. I don't think they can see it.
They can see it from far away.
No.
Guys, admire this crema.
So pretty.
So pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, Yolanda, thank you. She said, because you are making it, Dan, it will taste good.
Yes, I hope so. So this time around, we are...
Thank you, Janice. She said, happy late birthday.
Aww.
That's to me, not to you.
Well, it might be a very late birthday for me. I don't think it could, or very early. I think it's like right in between, given I'm born in January. All right, so I'm stacking up all my flavors. Just eyeballing these. Normally, I'd say about half an ounce, maybe an ounce of Cointreau. The triple sec. We're using triple sec, not Cointreau. Triple sec is a much lower end version of it, of course. Don't even want to compare. They're just basically clear and orange.
Yeah.
That's about the only similarity that they have. Then I'm going to add in the orange juice first this time because I want to stir to get all that alcohol.
You can use my straw.
Mixed in. Yes. There we go. So this is, again, a built cocktail. Yes. Now I will add in a little bit of the bubbly. And I'm going to double layer extra coffiness. I'm going to take a little bit of this so you can see what...
What
were you saying?
I was going to say you don't want to make your own coffee liqueur because that's a lot of work. And let's face it, some people might not want to. Could you just use Kahlua?
Yes, of course. If
Kahlua wants to sponsor us, we are available.
If you really want to do that. Otherwise, make your own. I will say, if you're... some people find Kahlua too sweet. Other people find the Mr. Black, the alternative one, not sweet enough. So when you make your own, you can really kind of dial it in, which is what I like, because I like to make mine with turbinado sugar and vanilla extract and all these things, and it's nice, and with a with a really like chocolatey bean, so you can use a specific bean that you want. to, give all the flavors. So it's so fun. Like, why not? Why not make the drink the coffee that you want? Make the Kahlua of your dreams.
Yeah.
Achieve
Can
greatness.
you try this now?
Yes, I would try a sip through the coffee without
Okay.
not in. No, that's just the opposite of what I just said to do. No, not with the straw. Drinking it through the coffee to see what that is. Oh, thank you.
That's good, but not great.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what that was like.
It's not great. It wasn't good. It was not good. Yeah.
Okay, well now try it. Now that it's all stirred up. How is that?
Much better.
Okay.
I still prefer the first one than the simpler one, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, that is a little...
It's good, but like...
more acidic. Like everything's like amplified.
Yeah.
It's like more coffee and more acid and more everything.
Oh, Yolanda's asking, what about Bailey's?
Bailey's and espresso is delicious together, but Bailey's and orange juice is disgusting because it curdles the cream. Yes, not with the straw, Volta. But yeah. So there's a shot that they will give people as a joke on their 21st birthday called a cement mixer, a concrete mixer type of thing, where it's Bailey's and lemon juice, and you mix it up in your mouth like you're supposed. They're like, oh yeah, just try it. It's so sweet. Like you just like shake it up in your mouth, rinse it out, and it just solidifies. It turns into a brick. It's so gross.
I can't say I've ever had that experience.
Yeah, Bailey's and lemon juice or Bailey's and citrus, not a good mix.
All right, let's paint, guys. Now it's time for the fun part of the show.
Excuse me. I think that
can you adjust and make my screen a little bigger? Thank you.
Yes, dear.
Thank you.
Yes.
All
no,
right.
my screen's big. This is what people pay to see.
Yeah, they don't pay.
No, this is what people don't pay to see. They pay to see not me.
All right, so this is going to be a very fun one to paint. Very easy, straightforward. So we're using a Collins glass, which is just like almost two parallel lines. So kind of like a rectangular shape for the glass. I'm going to start sketching that. And then at the bottom, we're going to have two curved lines. The first one, and then the second one right on top, just to show like there's a glass portion here. And then another curved line at the top. And we're going to have a couple of ice cubes kind of like showing through as if they're like right on the surface floating. And also going to add a little straw, and that's just two parallel lines, and then sitting like this. You can mix it up and put your straw on the other side. Totally optional.
Wow. Go crazy.
So wild, yes. Oh, Dan, can you fill up my brush pens?
I need to?
Yeah. Because I am very low in water in these. I forgot to do that beforehand.
Yes, David mentioned, the toothpaste and OJ, it's a similar...
Oh, toothpaste and OJ? Oh, like the taste?
Yeah, like after you...
Yeah.
Unpleasant.
Right.
Oh, Yolanda's looked up. I guess she looked up Bailey's concrete mixer.
I'm curious to see it because it looks. I mean, like it sounds gross, but like I don't want to taste it, but I want to see what it looks like.
I mean, it looks like concrete.
Oh, okay. Well then. All right, so this is going to be really easy. We're just going to use two colors, so a brown for the coffee and kind of like an orangey yellow for the orange juice. For my browns, I'm just gonna like mix in a couple of the browns that I have here in my palette. If you wanna, a cool trick to like give a brown color like its richness and make it look like chocolatey or like coffee is to add just a touch of purple into the mix, and that'll kind of like punch up color. So I've got a little bit
here.
And now we're just gonna start kind of layering down the color. So I'm not gonna add water first. Just gonna start painting. I'm gonna leave a little bit of space at the top just so that you can see that, you know, this drink doesn't fill up all the way to the top of the glass. And basically I already have plenty of water here in this area, so I'm just gonna like use this color up. And let's see, I want to do it about maybe a third way down. I'm going to clean off my brush. And now I want to like kind of soften this edge a little bit. So with a clean brush, I'm just going to kind of go over this line and make sure that it's softened so it's not like a harsh line. And because we're doing this with a clean brush and essentially just a little bit of water, it's diluting the color so it's not as intense as like the top portion. And then for the orange part, we're gonna use a little bit of this kind of yellowy orange, maybe a touch of yellow in here. And then I'm gonna start doing kind of the same technique but from the bottom. So I'm gonna start at the bottom of the glass. Just gonna leave a little bit of kind of like a blank space in between and clean off the brush again. And you can even like squeeze a touch of water, like a droplet of water into this area and kind of like just very gently like pull some of this like coffee color into the orange. So very gently, so because we don't want to necessarily like blend these two colors together, because you know, when you first layer the drink, you can clearly see the two different colors here. But adding just a touch of water, kind of helping that like watercolor do its thing. And also, I'm just going back into the browns and dropping a little bit more color so that it looks kind of more like saturated and vibrant.
David mentioned that it's a great tip of using purple in the deep brown.
Oh yeah.
That is some luxurious looking deep brown. You've got
Yes.
deep, dark brown.
So you see how, because there's a little bit of water, like the color is like slowly kind of seeping through, but it's not mixing, you know, it's not totally mixing yet. So we kind of want that effect, and the way to get it is essentially like you can help move the colors a little bit with a clean brush. Do make sure it's clean though. So you know, it might look a little bit different with each like little, you know, cocktail sketch that you make. For example, like here, I have a little bit more of that coffee kind of dripping to the bottom. So you don't need to worry about it, you know, looking exactly like what I'm painting, because of the nature of water and watercolor. You know, it'll look a little bit different for everyone. But I just wanted to show that you can experiment, and it's like really fun to try this technique.
Think about the cocktails I made. The first one was all like gradient, and the second one was very well defined.
Yeah.
Yes. I got a comment, stay in your lane, brown, yellow.
There we go. So now I'm just lifting off with a clean brush. I'm just lifting off a little bit, like a little kind of square shape, to give the impression that there's ice cubes inside of the drink. So again, you need to make sure you wipe off the brush on the towel, because otherwise you just be reintroducing that color back in there.
Still amazes me that you can practically erase watercolor.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite properties of watercolor. I think people might not necessarily like realize how like friendly it is, because yeah, you can make an accidental mark, like a happy accident, you know, like Bob Ross would say, but you also can like let it be, or just, you know, work with it. All right, so now I'm just using So I'm just gonna add a touch of more water to dilute a little bit of this brown in my palette, and I'm just gonna add a couple of little brush strokes onto the ice cubes here at the top, so that it looks like, the ice cube is reflecting a little bit of the coffee. So that's why it looks a little, and it has like a few little shadows here. Right, and then we also, so the light source, it's coming from the left-hand side in my case, because I'm a lefty. So you could kind of press down, and you want to add a little bit of a highlight to the glass to give it more dimension. So the way I'm doing that, I'm just gonna kind of push down, lift off a little bit of the color on the left-hand side. And it's totally okay if like a little bit of this brown kind of like merges into the yellow. No worries here. But you just want to kind of give it like an impression that there's a bit of a highlight here from the light source that's coming, kind of like I have here as well. And then I'm going to use a little bit of Payne's Gray, or you can use, any black that you have, or even like a purple or a blue for your straw. So I'm just painting like a very kind of thin line, and then I'm just going to soften it with a clean brush, so like blend out this edge.
David is making sure to acknowledge that you are also a professional.
Thank you, David.
She is literally a professional.
I do appreciate that, because people do pay me for what I do.
Unlike me.
Unlike you, no one has paid you yet.
People pay me to shut up.
But you did make cocktails for my book launch party.
Which you also didn't pay
I didn't
me
pay
for.
you for it, no. But we saved money by not, hiring someone. Anyway.
Yeah, we could have hired somebody very expensive, and we didn't have to.
Yeah. So you're welcome.
I am a professional.
So I also use a little bit of this Payne's Gray here at the bottom to like give a few little shadows on the glass. If it's a little too dark, you can always like lift off this color. And one thing I didn't add here, but I'm just going to show you real quick, is cast shadow. In case you're just joining us today, a cast shadow helps take your sketch from it looking, kind of flat to giving it more dimension. So we already did a little bit of that with the highlight, but now we're just going to do like a very thin line at the bottom of the glass and to the side. So the cast shadow will be on the opposite side because the light source is hitting the object and it's like casting a little shadow. So then we have, a little brush stroke here, and then we're going to clean off the brush pen, and again soften this edge, kind of like we did in the previous example. So that way the shadow looks very kind of like diffused and more natural, like realistic looking. But you see the difference, it like instantly gives it just a bit of dimension to your object. So whatever it is that you're sketching on location, like a quick little shadow and a highlight will like just instantly improve anything that you're painting. So and it's so easy too. Like these are my two top favorite watercolor techniques.
Yeah, the Volta Bingo.
Volta Bingo.
Volta Bingo cast shadow.
All right.
And Yolanda is saying that I do deserve to be paid for my services.
Oh, thanks, Yolanda. I guess
I'll remind her next time.
I guess we'll have to check it, see if Color Snack has any budget
I'll
for
send
that.
you my invoice.
Yes, please do. All right. Well, thank you everyone so much. Let's see. No.
What do we got?
Anthony said, try doing this with a coffee.
Tried to drink my
The paper
paper.
on my coffee got too long.
I got sick. Light source upper left.
Light source. Yes.
Bam.
Yes,
Casting that
yeah,
shadow.
that's right, David. You got it.
But yes, poor Anthony drinking the picture. You must have made him paint it so well that he just believed that it was a real.
Good job, Anthony.
Yeah, great work.
Yes. Can't wait to see your sketch. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And again, I appreciate you guys being a little patient while we had tiny, technical difficulty. But
updates must be applied.
yes. But it was really recommend trying this cocktail drink. It's very refreshing. It's so tasty.
One of the few times that I've found that the mocktail tastes better than the cocktail version.
Yeah, imagine that.
I'm sure we could dial it in a bit more, but yeah, I feel like maybe you could make a variation of it like a White Russian and have Bailey's, coffee liqueur, and orange liqueur. That way you wouldn't have the acidity that would cause it to curdle. Or even like cream, coffee liqueur, and orange liqueur, and achieve the same effect.
Yeah.
But that's for another show.
Yes. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. As always, if you have any ideas for cocktails, let us know. We're always open to suggestions.
Yeah, we love hearing from you guys.
Have a great rest of your week.
Bye.
Bye.